Imagine feeling a cold hand on your shoulder only to turn around and find no one there. A frightening thought, isn't it? But for one Reddit user, this chilling scenario became their eerie reality. This individual, who we'll call Sam, began noticing something peculiar in their home. It wasn't an intruder or a faulty plumbing system, no. It was something far more bone-chilling, something that defies explanation. Sam began to feel an unseen presence. At first, it was just a cold touch, a spectral hand grazing their shoulder. It was a sensation that sent shivers down their spine, but with no one around, it was easy to dismiss as a trick of the mind. But then, things escalated. Whispers slithered around the corners of the room, voices without a source, like a conversation carried on the wind from an unknown place. It was unintelligible yet unnerving, a spectral symphony that played only for Sam. Objects began to take on a life of their own. A book would fall from a shelf. A chair would move across the room. These incidents, isolated, could be chalked up to coincidence, but together they painted a chilling portrait of something beyond the realm of the ordinary. Sam was living in a house haunted not by a poltergeist but by an unseen presence, an entity that made its presence known through touch, sounds, and the manipulation of physical objects. A presence that, though unseen, was undeniably felt. This real-life ghost story, shared on the digital pages of Reddit, gives us a glimpse into the experiences of those who have encountered the spectral and the supernatural. It sends a shiver down our spines, makes us look over our shoulders, and leaves us questioning the nature of the world around us. It's a narrative that weaves together the ordinary and the extraordinary, the seen and the unseen. It's a story that, while may not provide concrete evidence of the supernatural, certainly stirs up thoughts of what could be lurking just beyond our perception. This tale leaves us wondering if the unseen world is closer than we think. Have you ever felt a nagging feeling that something terrible is about to happen? Let's delve into our second tale of the unknown, a chilling account of a premonition that came true. A Reddit user shares their unnerving experience that paints a vivid picture of the mysterious powers of intuition and premonitions. In the stillness of the night, this individual found themselves in the clutches of a dream. Not a dream filled with sunshine and rainbows, but one that was a storm of dread and fear. It was a dream so vivid and so real that it felt as though they were living the nightmare. In the dream, they witnessed a disaster, an event so catastrophic it sent shivers down their spine. The air was filled with fear, screams echoed around, and the world seemed to crumble before their eyes. The dream was so disturbing that it jolted them awake, their heart pounding like a drum in their chest. In the cold light of day, the dream seemed far-fetched, something conjured by an overactive imagination. Yet they couldn't shake off that sinking feeling, that feeling of impending doom. It was a warning, a premonition, a whisper from the universe that disaster was lurking around the corner. And then, the unthinkable happened. The next day, the disaster from the dream unfolded in reality. The dream was no longer a mere figment of imagination, but a terrifying prediction of the future. It was as if the universe had given them a glimpse into what was to come, a dire warning that had saved their life. This story takes us into the realm of the unexplained, where dreams are more than just random thoughts and emotions. It reminds us that our intuition, our gut feelings, are sometimes more than just fleeting sensations. They can be the universe's way of guiding us, of warning us about the dangers that lie ahead. Sometimes our nightmares are not just dreams, but ominous warnings from the universe. Does technology have a mind of its own, or can it be manipulated by the supernatural? This is the question that our third story asks, as we dive into the unnerving narrative of a Reddit user whose electronic device began to act in ways that defy explanation. Imagine this. You're sitting at home, idly scrolling through your device when suddenly it glitches. The screen flickers, the device buzzes in your hand. It's a bit disconcerting, sure, but nothing too out of the ordinary. You might think it's time for an upgrade, or perhaps you've just used it a bit too much. But what if it's something more? This is where our story takes a chilling turn. The device starts displaying messages seemingly from nowhere. No sender, no number, just text appearing on the screen. The messages aren't random letters or codes, but coherent, intelligible sentences. Messages that are eerily personal. Messages that seem to know things that no one else could. The Reddit user initially thought it was a prank, a friend messing with them, or maybe a hacker. But the messages kept coming, each one more unsettling than the last. They began to feel like they weren't alone, like someone, or something, was watching them through their device. A spirit, perhaps, trying to communicate, to reach out from the other side. This tale might seem like something out of a science fiction horror movie, but for this Reddit user, it was all too real. Their device, their portal to the world, had become a conduit for the supernatural. It was as if the spirit had possessed the device, manipulating it to make its presence known. The user tried everything to rid their device of this otherworldly intruder. They reset it, they replaced it, but the messages kept coming. It seemed that the spirit wasn't tied to the device, but to the user themselves. In the age of technology, it seems even our devices aren't immune to the supernatural. What if you suddenly found yourself in a different time period, with no explanation of how you got there? This is the curious and chilling tale of a Reddit user who experienced just that. A time slip, a sudden and unexplainable journey into a different era. Our storyteller begins their day like any other. A mundane morning, a regular routine. But as they step outside their house, something changes. The air feels different, the colors seem off, the sounds out of place. They find themselves standing in a world that is familiar, yet eerily different. It's their neighborhood, but it's not their time. They describe the scene in vivid detail. The cobblestone streets replacing the asphalt roads, horse-drawn carriages where cars should be, people dressed in fashions from a bygone era. The world around them appears to have regressed by more than 100 years, and they're in the middle of it all, a stranger in a strangely familiar land. But as quickly as they found themselves in this time-warped reality, they're snapped back into the present. One blink and the cobblestones are replaced by asphalt again, the carriages by cars, the antiquated fashions by modern attire. Just like that, they're back in their own time, standing in the same spot, with the same surroundings they know and recognize. But they're left with a lingering sense of disbelief and a memory that feels too real to be just a figment of imagination. What happened to them? How did they travel back in time, and how did they return? They searched for logical explanations, for scientific reasoning, but found none. Their experience defies our understanding of time, of reality itself. It serves as a stark reminder that there are phenomena in this world that we cannot explain, cannot understand, and perhaps are not meant to. Perhaps time isn't as linear as we believe it to be. Time might be a river, flowing in one direction for us, but who's to say there aren't currents beneath the surface, swirling eddies that could pull us into the past or push us into the future? Maybe, just maybe, time is more fluid than we've ever imagined. From unseen presences to time slips, we've explored some hair-raising supernatural stories. We've journeyed through the shadows of the unexplained, where everyday objects become conduits of the eerie, and regular moments transform into timeless enigmas. Let's take a moment to reflect upon these tales of the supernatural. We began with the unseen presence, a tale that reminds us of the chilling sensation of being watched, of feeling a presence that defies logic and reason. It's a story that whispers in our ears that even in our solitude, we might not be entirely alone. Next, we delved into the ominous warning, a story that explores the eerie concept of premonitions. It's a tale that makes us question if time is as linear as we believe, or if some of us have the uncanny ability to peek into the future, even if it's just a fleeting glimpse. Then we moved on to the haunted device, a narrative that takes the familiar and twists it into the strange. It's a tale that makes us wonder, can the inanimate become animate under the influence of the supernatural? Can an everyday object become a vessel for something beyond our comprehension? And lastly, we ventured into the time slip, a story that challenges our understanding of time and space. It's a tale that asks us, what if we could slip through the cracks in time, even if just for a moment? These stories, as chilling as they are, also ignite our curiosity about the unknown and the unseen. They pull us into a realm where the laws of nature, as we understand them, seem to bend and twist, creating a landscape that is both terrifying and fascinating. As we delve into these stories, we realize that the line between the natural and the supernatural is often blurred, leaving us with more questions than answers. But isn't that the allure of the supernatural? The thrill of the mystery, the delight in the enigma, the joy of the unanswered question. After all, what is life without a little bit of mystery?